How's everybody doing? All right. Well, clearly we have to talk more about this then, because that was not the, the response I was expecting. So I am 6 months pregnant. I haven't just been eating lots of croissants. So when you're looking at me and you're hearing my talk, don't be thinking what's going on with her. So I'm really happy to be here with you guys tonight, and I am so grateful to be in this experience of my life and having the opportunity to share with you some incredible things that have happened in my own life. So really, I'm here to ask you guys a question. Are you guys getting the good stuff in your life? I think for myself, my life drastically changed when I started asking myself that question about 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I was living in this beautiful little city. Some of you may know it. Some of you may live there, Laguna Beach. And I thought I had life made. Everything was perfect. I had the perfect job. I had the perfect car. I went to all the right parties, and everything was great. Except for the day I woke up and I realized I was really unhappy. And I was really unhealthy. And what was I going to do to turn things around in my life? Because honestly, I woke up and I thought, you know what, if this is what life is all about, I'm not sure that I'm really wanting to do the next 80 years like this. And so I started looking around, I started taking an inventory, and I started asking myself, you know what, if those things you define success by weren't making you happy, what will make you happy? And what is the good stuff for you in your life, Jenny? So I started embarking down a path, and I didn't really tell anybody about it because remember, I grew up in this really fantastic idea of this was all the right stuff. And so, you know, when you start to change all of your life, some people, it scares them just a little bit. It scared me too because as I started questioning things, I started realizing, you know what, if I want something different, I'm going to have to make different choices. And I had no idea what that was going to mean. So what I started doing at night is I started walking down through the town. Laguna Beach is a gorgeous little artist colony, and so there's beautiful galleries everywhere, and my favorite thing to do would be to walk through the streets at night when all the galleries were closed. And I would look at the paintings, and I would just take in all the sights that I would see there, and I'd think to myself, isn't it amazing? Someone created this art that's so far beyond what I do with my own finger painting. And look at it here on the wall, and it's so inspiring and it's so beautiful. How did they do that? And I started thinking, what is it that they know that I don't, right? And I realized that they clearly were thinking of things from a different perspective and that they had to be making different choices in their lives to create something that beautiful. So I started looking at my life from that perspective. How can I make my life into something a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more gorgeous, and a little bit more inspiring? So I started walking around, and as I looked down one night, I saw this little flyer for a yoga studio that was opening down there. And I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll try yoga. You know, I've tried some of these other things, didn't really like them, I'll try yoga. So I started going to yoga, and I realized in my first class, and if you've ever done yoga for the first time, you'll understand this. In my first class, I realized I'm not taking very good care of my body. And not only that, you know, I had a lot of issues already with digestion and things I knew about, but I just assumed I was going to have to live with those the rest of my life, you know. So I really started looking at that, and I thought, wow, okay, so my body, what does my body need? And I started learning, and you know, they didn't teach me in health in school exactly what your body needs to function. They teach you, you know, the food pyramid, which, by the way, a couple of years ago, they completely flipped upside down. Oops, sorry about that, you guys. And all of this that really wasn't supporting who I really was. So I started taking a look, and I started taking inventory, and sort of as it happens in your life, as soon as you start to ask questions, doors open, right? Doors to possibility, doors to new ideas. And if you're open to examining what comes in through those doors, you find some amazing things. So I found this book about living foods, and I read it. And I read it cover to cover in one night, and I thought, you know what, this is a very compelling idea. Living body, living food equals vibrant life. Okay, sign me up for that. I know what this other gets me, and I don't really like it, so I'm going to try this other and see how it goes. And at first, I started thinking about it, and then I started going, oh no, that means the tortilla chips are out, and the brownies, and oh my gosh, I can't go to Javier's anymore. And I started to kind of get into this space that was really negative, and I realized that, wait a minute, Jenny, I don't have to go all the way the distance right now. I can just start here and start moving down along the line. So about 2 weeks into sort of experimenting with this new thing, I discovered I was feeling a lot better. And I was really motivated at that point to really start to do more. So I looked around and I thought, well, what's really holding me back from going all the way there? I looked around and I thought, well, nobody, nothing, really just my own limitation that I had in my mind. So I said, I'm just going to try it 100%. I'm going to try it. And so I get ready and I get going, and you know what? It was amazing. It was incredible, and I looked back 2 weeks after that, so now we're a month into this whole experiment, right? And all the issues with digestion were gone. I woke up in the morning without an alarm clock, and I was happy, and I was feeling great, and I felt like the world was my oyster, right? And I thought, this is incredible, that this food could fuel me to this level. And so I just kept going with it. And honestly, I didn't tell anybody. Again, it scares people to death. So I'd go to my family's house, they'd offer me something. Oh, no, I ate before I came. Thank you so much. And I learned about all the different social aspects of what this was going to mean, you know. And I got a little scared again. I thought, you know what, Thanksgiving's coming up. There's going to be a turkey there. And I don't really know. And I started going down this whole line again. And then I started remembering, hey, Jenny, you're making this choice for you. This isn't about anybody else in your life. This is for you, and this is about something that you want, right? About being more of who you really are. So I started making these choices every day, and it got easier, and it got easier, and it got easier. And then suddenly I was very inspired to shout it from the rooftops. Don't you know how good you can feel? I mean, really. And I was, you know, doing the wide-eyed thing, and I was scaring everybody I knew half to death. And so I discovered that really if I wanted to share this with someone, if I wanted to help them get more of what I had learned to be the good stuff in my own life to them, that I was going to have to share it in a way people could understand. So the number one way we share things here in the United States and actually all over the world is through food. So I decided that if I could show people how delicious this food could be, one bite at a time, right, we could share about what could really be a good thing. And along the way, I started learning all the health benefits of what we were doing. So tonight, we're going to make a delicious cacao avocado cream. And I love this dish because it really embodies what we're doing. And that is, we're not giving things up. This isn't about sacrifice. This is about getting more of the good stuff in your life. So there's really 4 questions and 4 things you have to ask yourself when you're deciding if something is the good stuff as it fits into food and as it relates to food. Now, why should we look at food so closely? Well, we're finding out right now the 2 leading causes of death in America, heart disease and cancer, very closely related to food. And then right behind that, we have a huge epidemic of diabetes that's growing. And it's a terrible thing to live with. And it's a terrible thing because in a lot of cases, it does end up taking your life. So what we've found is that the more that we can share this, the more we add. Every little bit counts, right? So it's not like you have to go the distance, just get more of the good stuff in. So the first question I always tell people, ask yourself, where did this food come from? Right? Because if I would have looked back at myself 12 years ago, I definitely wouldn't have seen trees of beautiful orchards of Oreo cookies and cheese puffs and whatever else I was eating. So where does this food come from? So the first ingredient we're going to use tonight, this is a young Thai coconut. I love the young Thai coconut. It's a really fun ingredient to work with, but it's also really fantastically healthy for you. The water inside the young Thai coconut is super hydrating. So they actually use it because it's so close to blood plasma in blood transfusions when they're running short on blood. So I love this coconut, and for this reason, because it stimulates the brain. So a little coconut water in the morning turns your brain right on. And Dr. Amen, who's a good friend and a fantastic speaker, also talks about the importance of getting your brain going first thing in the morning. So coconut water does that, and the avocados we're going to use today, those do that too. And we're just going to open this up. Now, folks, this is a good way to get some aggression out too. And I have to tell you that the first time someone told me to open a young Thai coconut, I thought, that's crazy. And it actually lived in my kitchen for about a week until I finally decided to go Google how to open a young Thai coconut. And I learned about it. And you just keep going around the top. It's really not rocket science. And once you get in and you crack the shell, you just lift it up. Now, I don't know how they do it in the islands because I hear they don't have these giant knives, but here we go. Now, the young Thai coconut, each one comes with 8 to 16 ounces of this delicious water and this really awesome flesh inside. And coconut flesh is actually a really good source of essential fatty acids, which our brain and our heart really need. In fact, we have a part of our digestive tract that goes straight to the heart with fats. So you think about that every time you have a French fry, right? So there we go. There's our young Thai coconut water, and that's the base. So where did this come from? Well, this came from a tree, came from Thailand, nourished by the sun, nourished by all the vitamins and minerals in the ground. It's a good choice. It's the good stuff, right? And hey, it's a lot of fun. So we're going to enjoy that. The next thing is the avocado. And again, Dr. Amen talks about these being like God's butter, right? So avocados are really fantastic. They're a good source of potassium, and they're a really good way to start enjoying more plant-based foods in your diet, which is sort of the second question that I always ask people. Can it grow from the ground? Because if it can grow from the ground, then you're certain that there's vitamins and minerals your body needs. That's where they're stored. That's where they come from. And another great thing about plant-based diets we're learning is they're very effective in combating heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and some of these other things that we're really finding are an issue for us. There's some great documentaries out there now. And you don't have to go 100% with the plant-based diet, but every little bit that you add makes a big difference. So in go 2 avocados. I love the avocado because they really bring out the flavor of my next favorite ingredient, and that is chocolate, right? So I told someone that I do this whole living foods thing, and they said, well, I can't eat carrot sticks and celery all day. And I said, well, I'm not asking you to because I had chocolate for breakfast. You know, and I kind of smiled and I said, you know, the reality is there's a lot of great ingredients, and it's just how we combine them that makes the difference in how they work in our bodies. So raw chocolate is really awesome because it's high in magnesium. Every woman in this room needs more magnesium, I'm telling you that. And also it's very high in vitamins and minerals. Vitamin C, it actually has some natural occurring protein. This is a guilt-free chocolate, truly. And it's not sweetened by anything. It doesn't have any dairy, and we actually call it cacao because it's not roasted. And it's from Venezuela. Chocolate's a lot like coffee. It has different flavor notes. So now, if you like chocolate, go ahead and put the whole half cup in there. Okay, if you're more of a milk chocolate person, a little bit at a time. There we go. We're gonna go there. And so this is another ingredient to look at, but also it kind of goes with the third question. And what is the health benefit of eating this food? And if you start asking yourself that with more of the things you eat in your life, you'll find that you automatically rule out the things that you know are just not serving your best purpose. And why would we ask that question is because we're all here in this room to do amazing things. And we need to be more of who we really are, right, in order to accomplish those things. And sometimes the choices we make with our food get in the way of doing that. So when we make good choices, we find that we have better mental clarity, we sleep better, we're having a better experience of day-to-day life, and on top of that, we have more energy. So we have more to give in whatever it is that we do. And that's really what I'm here to share with you guys, because I know that if we all did this, this world that we live in would be an incredible place. So there goes the raw chocolate, more of who you really are, right there and there. And then the next thing is a little bit of the sweetness, because again, this isn't about sacrifice. This is about adding more of the good stuff, getting more of the good stuff in. Slowly, the other things naturally fall away. So this is a raw agave nectar. It's a nice dark color, and this is a natural sweetener. It's a low on the glycemic index, and still you want to go light with it. So I just have 1/4 of a cup that I've added there to our mixture. And you can sweeten as desired on top of that. But it really goes with the fourth question. The fourth question is, how was this food prepared? So there's a lot of different ways we prepare food, and not just is it cooked or uncooked or how is it heated. You know, really with living foods, we talk about living food, living body, right? More vibrant energy in your life. So foods that are cooked under 118 degrees tend to maintain their enzyme value and their nutritional value. Two big things we need for energy and proper assimilation of all those wonderful foods you are eating. So really important to get lots of living foods in your diet, no matter what your diet is. But on top of that, how was it prepared, right? Because lifestyle is a big part of this. So if you were running through your house and you threw on the blender and you kept running and you kept running back and you have a lot of stress in your life, that's going to play into how all of this food sits in your body. If you're doing it and you're resentful because it's not full of other things in your life, that might not be the best choice for you either. So it's always looking at how was this food prepared, and that can go many, many different steps. So you have to decide for you what's most important. Now we're just going to blend this up, and we're enjoying our time together, so I think it's prepared in the most loving way possible. And we'll just start the blender on low and then turn it on. And then just turn it lightly up. And if you have a regular blender at home, this goes really fast. And that's pretty much it. Now this delicious recipe will last 7 days in the refrigerator if you can keep it around that long. And again, it's something that you can feel good about eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I have an old friend here that I'm going to fill with a new piece of my vibrant life. And there we go. And then, you know, I always tell you guys, you eat with your eyes first, right? So if it doesn't look good, I don't try to convince someone to eat it, right? So we're just going to take some of these delicious strawberries, which are essentially good for the heart. Dr. Oz talks a lot about the benefits of eating fresh strawberries. They're high in antioxidants, and they're delicious, right? So we're just going to put those right on the top. They add a splash of color. If we had some mint leaves, we could put those on there. And this truly is the good stuff. I mean, come on now, folks. We're eating a delicious cacao avocado cream. It's nice and sweet, and it's something that will nourish every element of our body. So not just our physical body, but also our mental, spiritual, and emotional experience of life, right? Because if life is all about sacrifice, how many of us are really going to get there? And I'm here to tell you 100% that when you decide to ask yourself these questions and you start bringing more of this into your life, things that will happen for you that are incredible. And I was telling you the other day, I was talking to my husband about walking down those streets in Laguna Beach. And I look back now and I think about that thought that I had about the artist and what is the artist doing. And I really now have been enough through that process of really opening up to possibilities and really embracing more of the good stuff and going to the edge of where I was comfortable and deciding that I was going to create my life in a magical and special way. And now when I look back at the painting that is my life, I feel so joyous and so glad to share it because it's something that I believe is so gorgeous and beautiful that I'm so proud to be a part of it. So thank you all for having me here tonight, and I hope that more of you are encouraged to get more of the good stuff in your life.